country, and we also get clients, and we in that moment, we feel that the clients see us in a different light. You know, that we have something, we have benchmark from many countries in the world in that sense. So it becomes useful, and we can tell our pharmaceutical clients, those who are interested, milk people who are interested in health issues, you can go onto our website, it's free. You know, that kind of thing is posted there. And straight away there is an instant establish of rapport with the client, and for once they say that, you know, we are giving them something free, you know. And of course, they have to build on, you know, because those are meant as a teaser. You know, so I think that it's something good to come out of it, you know, but it also depends on how we make use of the information, you know. So maybe for that particular one, we don't get to sell it, if we don't generate revenue, but it does generate an intangible, you know, interest and revenue to us in that sense. It's intangible in a sense, returns. So I think that's good.
Were you doing pharmaceutical business before that started?
Sorry?
Were you doing business in the health area?
We do.
And do you have new clients since then?
New client directly from there, no, but in a way it's put us in a map. It's advertising for us in that sense.
It's credibility, building credibility. And, that's why I thought something like the pharmaceutical one should continue. Because we, in my perspective, we started something and then suddenly stopped. Come on, if there is any objective of doing it from in the first place, if we have the objective of building up an image, then we have to continue. If it is just something out of the blue, well, okay, we do it once and then we do something else. So my concern is the question why, if we do anything. If we want to do the heart, then we have why, because this is continuation. If we do the pharmaceutical thing, yeah, we want to make credibility to the network. That's why I think there should be a balance between the network and the individuals, both of them. It's not, from my perspective, it's more of individual. It's too individual. It has to be some kind of a balance between them, the network and the individual. At least in in some of our countries, we benefit from the credibility of IRIS, and this is one of the takeout we get from the IRIS. And but in the same time, it doesn't build up, and that's why I see a lot of excellent things, but it doesn't build up. That's my perspective.
I think just continue with that. In fact, we are invited to again to have a talk with the professionals in our country regarding the health study as well. We have done in hospital. So in a way, it has been about quite some time already, yeah, since we had that syndicate, and it's still generating interest from different groups. Who knows if we may strike some business deal after that.
I mean, I found huge benefit in the healthcare one in that, not just with healthcare clients, of whom we have quite a few, but increasingly our regular food clients are suddenly becoming concerned about nutrition and so on, and functional foods and that. Yeah. And this area has become interesting. So constantly from telling them we do interesting stuff in the healthcare area, they're now coming back and saying, tell us more about that. So it really took on a life of its own, and we got immense use out of that. So I would hope we would revisit the healthcare study again in 4 or 5 years' time. But I thought it was a really good example of a study that even where people don't have healthcare clients, that it's about how people work, and you know, it's a deeper and more fundamental subject that is of interest to all people, surely. And there are other elements, I think, as well, like say the internet and social media and so on. Even if it's not something you work on, all of your clients have some level of interest in it. So it's the type of area that is you know, really has traction, and the media gets excited by it too. though I know there are lots of studies in that area. But I always felt the healthcare one was particularly strong. But I thought last time, probably in our execution, we should have had more stringent rules about sample sizes and sample composition and so on. I think we in some cases we had small samples in some countries, and we had funny, you know, we samples from 18 to 50 in some places. Like it needs to be somewhat more uniform. But I think broadly it worked well. But I know I gather at Shanghai a lot of people expressed contrary views about it and said they didn't feel it was the kind of study they wanted to be doing necessarily. But I think it's about as close as you could come to a common interest study that would work across 30-odd companies, you know. But it's finding the other topic areas that is the difficulty. Certainly something we had discussed in the council was that potentially the next study should combine 2 or 3 different focuses, and ideally people would do all 3 maybe, but perhaps people could opt to do 2 and say I'm not interested in the 3rd one. But I think if we don't, to an extent, request everyone to participate, it really lets down the potential that these studies have. You know, that some countries would opt out is really disappointing. I think we should all aspire to you know, get everyone on board as much as possible, and maybe there would be a core component and additional components that you don't have to do, but you do the central core. But that's me. That's enough.
By the way, I was surprised that in Egypt, Unilever was interested in that. I didn't expect that. Although in our talk, we did not really emphasize it at all. Then we found them interested.
Yeah. Glad to hear it.
But to me, it's always, I don't think we have found the right balance yet, what the topics are. I'm very happy to hear that the healthcare has worked for a number of countries, and that it really has worked. But on the other hand, there are companies where it just has not worked for whatever reason, because we are not active in this area, we have not been able to promote it at all. And we'd be, for example, much interested in benchmarks in employee satisfaction or commitment and something like that. And the question, and there are many more topics, right?
Sure.
The question is, how do we strike a balance? Because I don't feel comfortable making this a compulsory thing.
Yeah.
And if I happen to be a company that just every year just doesn't feel like this is a topic that I could benefit from, that's a big burden, I think, in addition to the fees that was never communicated in the onset. So the question is, what's the consensus here? I mean, maybe you agree and say, no, look, once a year is no big deal, everybody is forced to do it, to participate, with very few exceptions, whatever. And we have a schedule of a couple of topics that are reoccurring so that we don't lose track of them. What's the consensus?
I can't really imagine that you can make this